5 decimal places. 5 decimal places. Okay, I'm going to round it, so comma 5, 5 decimal places. End the parentheses. 1, 2, 3, 4, I rounded it to 5 decimal places. I can round it to 1, I can round it to 2, I can round it to 3. Math, scroll to the right to get to numbers, scroll down to get round. That's what I want to do. I want to round the number off. So if I had 0.27841, let's round it off to 2 decimal places. If I want to round that off to 2, most of you already know the answer is 2.8. I want 2 decimal places. The 8 is 5 or bigger. It's got to be 2.8. Calculator will do it for you. How did I get to round off? Math. Scroll to the right to get numbers. Scroll down to get to round off. So I can round off any number. I want to type 0.27841. 0.27841. That's the number I want to round off, comma, there's the comma. I said round it off to how many places? 2, so there's the 2. And the parentheses, hit enter, and it rounded it off to 2 places. Some of you have had problems with rounding numbers off in your life. I've just shown you a workaround. I've given you a workaround. Do you need to practice it? The answer is yes. You have to practice anything that's new. But don't tell me I can't round numbers off. You don't have to anymore. You're going to know how to use the calculator to round things off. You got to work with it. Have I made life a little bit easier?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe I missed this part, but okay, so I get how you use the calculator for rounding, but what if the issue is like knowing the hundreds or thousands, but
Okay.
so,
I want you to do this for me. And again, I'll apologize if this sounds like I'm insulting you. And I apologize.
I'm not,
This is the ones column.
right,
This is what column is it?
right,
Ones, just work with me.
gotcha,
This is what column? Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. It's important you know the name. What is the name of that column? Say it out loud.
one,
It is not, this is ones, this is THS. This is the tenths. 6 and 3 tenths. Okay? That's the tenths column. What is that column? Appreciate your help, but right now I need her. Okay?
hundred,
Hundreds. What is that one?
thousands,
Thousands.
100,000,
1,000, 10,000. 1,000, 10,000. Make sense?
gotcha, so it's after the decimal, okay.
After 10,000 is 100,000. I don't think we're going any farther than that.
Right,
But if we did, this would be millionths.
right,
So that's one set of names. Tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions.
right,
Another way of describing it that's much easier to understand, 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places,
right.
3 decimal places, 4, 5, 6.
Right, so, no, and that's the question I was asking, because like on the test, it would say, oh, to the nearest hundreds or thousands, so I just wanted to make sure that it counts
You
after
need
the
to know that tenths is one place.
Right.
Hundreds is two places. Thousands is three places. 10,000s is four places. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
And did I answer it in a way that you understand them all?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Thank
what I'm
you.
supposed to do. Thank you for having the good sense to ask what you don't understand. Tell me the truth. Through most of your schooling, would you have asked the teacher?
Probably not, but yeah, no.
But you're an adult now. You're not a kid in school trying to hide from me that something didn't make sense. I'm flattered. I'm highly flattered by your question. What you've told me is, Mr. Seaman, I've got confidence in you. The rest of you in here need to be flattered. She's just told you she has confidence that you're not going to give her a pile of crap because something she didn't understand, you do. Trust each other. Trust each other. Trust me. Life will be better. What other questions can I answer? Yes, ma'am.
So, the 8 and 2 9, when I was talking about previously, that we multiply those together when there's nothing in between them. So why do we put it in as an addition on the calculator?
Read this number for me. Read it for me.
8 and 2 9.
What's the second word you said?
And.
And. 8 and 2 9. If I type 8 and 2 9, if I don't type the addition sign, if I type 8, how do I show that I've got a fraction? If I don't type the addition sign, 8, 2, divide 9.
I thought you had to multiply the 8 times the 9, making it an improper fraction, and that's how you put it in.
That's arithmetic. And you are absolutely correct. If you're doing the arithmetic, I'm not teaching you arithmetic. If you already know your arithmetic, use it. What I'm teaching you right now is how to use your calculator, which is a different thing. Okay? I'm teaching you a workaround. It's not saying what you've already done is wrong. It's a workaround. It's a make sense? Gentlemen, questions? Eye contact with me. Please, me eyes. Making sense? You have any questions?
I have a question about one problem, but.
Let's go. Give it to me.
All right, can I write it?
You may write it. Can I erase it?
Real quick. It won't take that long, guys. I promise.
I think so. Let's find out. Let's. Have a look.
So, mixed number.
And it asks you to do is mix numbers.
No, I don't know.
All right, let's take a look at it. Yeah, lay it down. First, I'm going to clear my computer screen. I'll clear that, and I'll clear this history of all the buttons I pushed. You've got it written down. I'm going to write it. Make sure you start with the parentheses, 62, and plus 1/2, 1 divided by 2, and the parentheses, it's times, it's an X, but the calculator types it as a star, okay? That's the way it shows multiplication, because X is a letter, means something different. Parentheses, 26, plus 1/9, 1 divided by 9. Did I type it right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll hit enter. 1631 I know the answer, the whole number part. I know the whole number part. I'm gonna write it down. What am I gonna type next?
You're gonna subtract the 1631.
Okay, subtract 1631.
And then you're gonna go math.
No, I gotta hit enter.
Correct. Then
There's the
math-
decimal part.
Math enter enter. Take you to a fraction right now, 41.
And it didn't do it.
You won't do it. I had two of those like that back to back, and I couldn't actually
Really?
answer.
Okay.
So I ended up fading that one. I went to a third one, and then I was able to get the mixed fraction and solve the equation. But it took me for a loop. Back to back.
I got a problem, okay, and I don't have an answer for you right now.
This figure wasn't me.
I apologize. Who else ran into an issue like this?
I do, but I ended up somehow, I came up with the answer. I don't know how I did it, but I know I have it probably somewhere. I wrote it down, wrote everything down. I tried a different way, and it ended up working out.
I had two of them. I had another one, but we don't need to.
And I don't, right now, I don't have an answer for you yet. I'll figure it out before I see you the next time, but I'm not ready to give you an answer right now. Okay? I've talked to you, and I congratulated you for asking me a question. You had confidence in me and everybody else. Here's something I want you to see. I have confidence in you. I just told you I didn't know why it happened. If I didn't have confidence in you, I'd have lied to you. I'd have made up some bullshit, okay? You've all seen teachers do that. You know what teachers don't understand. And they're as scared as you are. And they hide it. That's one of the advantages of having a mature teacher. Okay, not old, mature.
Mature,
Okay?
experienced.
Is I've got confidence in you. I trust you. You're not gonna go out of here and say bad things about me. So I'll figure it out. Say again? All the fans, you wanna learn English? Then I'm not gonna be your English teacher. Although later today, I'm gonna teach you some English. I told you I was gonna talk less, and I've already talked too much. I'm done with chapter 1. We're gonna move to chapter 2. Remember, chapter 1 is back open. If the only thing that gets in the way between you and 100 on either homework or quiz is a problem like just happened, send me an email and I'll change your score. Why would I do that? Because I haven't been able to tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
So jipping you, because of my error, I'm confident in what I do.
Should have a
I'll be fair.
talk with my English teacher.
Good enough? Okay, let's move on. I know I'll be back to this, so I'm gonna clear this and clear this so the next time I use it. I wanna open the Word program, and I wanna bring this up. Business Math 106, Chapter 2. So in your blue books, in your little blue books, let's open up. I've already done questions from the previous lesson, and I want to do a brief review of algebra. A brief. You've all had algebra. When did you have algebra? What grade were you in? Ninth grade. Okay? Was the class all year long or half a year long? All year long. You probably had class 180 days. 180 times, and they taught you algebra. You know how many days I'm gonna teach you algebra? 2 days, so 5 hours. Today, the next time we meet. So I'm gonna teach you half algebra in one class, the other half in the second class. Are you gonna learn as much as you learned in 180 days? I think so, probably more. I think you'll learn as much as you learned in 180 days. Okay? What you need to know is on this paper. Read to yourself what I just wrote. Addition and multiplication are different. How you add and how you multiply are different. Well, duh, obviously they're different. But let me give you an example. 2 plus 3 is 5. Remember, we write the answer down the page. I didn't write 2 plus 3 equals 5. I did 2 plus 3, and I wrote the 5 below it. Get in that habit. 2 and 3 and 5 are equal numbers, but we write it by going down a page, not sideways. But that's how you add. How you multiply is different. 2 times 3 isn't 5. It's 6. I want you to go back to being 5, 6 years old, and you're in elementary school, and you walked in, and the teacher says, we're going to learn math. And on that first day, they taught you that 2 plus 2 is 4. And that young you sitting in that class, 2 plus 2 is 4. I got it. You walked in the next day, and they said, I'm going to teach you multiplying. 2 times 2 is 4. This is easy. It's the same as adding. It's the same damn thing. You knew that 2 plus 3 is 5, so see what's 2 times 3? And you said 5. And they said, no. You threw your papers in the air. Because that teacher doesn't know what you're talking about. That's stupid. If 2 plus 2 is 4 and 2 times 2 is 4, then 2 times 3, 2 plus 3 should be the same thing. How you add, how you multiply are different. They are different. In arithmetic, they're also different in algebra. Here it is in algebra. This is how you add. 2x plus 3x is 5x. 2x plus 3x is 5x. That's how you add. 2 things. The x's have to be the same. The numbers don't have to be the same. What you're doing is you're adding the x's. I got 2 x's, I got 3 more x's, I got 5 x's. That's how you add. It's totally different than how you multiply. Well, of course it is. Add and multiply. If you're multiplying 2x times 3x, 6. But it's not x. It's x. How do I say that little number on there?
Squared.
I call it squared. It's called an exponent. It's called an exponent. 2x times 3x is 6. X squared. 6x squared. How you add is different than how you multiply. If all you do is look at it, if you use half your brain instead of your whole brain, you'll get them wrong. Say them out loud. You're working with somebody. You get a question and you go to your cube mate. You say, I'm having problems with this. Can you help? Whoever is your cube mate in here? No, in the other section. But you ask your cube mate, first thing they should do is say, read it to me. Somebody else asks you for help. The first thing you ask them to do is read it to me. Make sure you're using your ears, not just your eyes. Okay? 2x times 3x is 6x squared. That's algebra. How you add and how you multiply are different. And if you read them out loud, you'll get so many more right than you used to. That's how to learn, not necessarily how to do it. Next thing I want to show you. Arithmetic is only done two numbers at a time. Fancy way of saying it is binary. Bi. Two. Nary is a word that means numbers. You can only do arithmetic on two numbers at a time. If I've got 2 plus 3 plus 4, it's 9. I don't care if you're in the first grade or if you're Albert Einstein. I don't care how darn smart you are. You can't do all three numbers at once. You get an answer. 2 and 3 are 5. And 5 plus 4 is 9. Nobody adds 2, 3, and 4. All math is binary. You do two numbers at a time. Get an answer. And then if there's a third number, involve that. It's not about getting the right answer. It's about doing the steps. It's not about the 9x, or the 9. It's about getting the 5 and the 4, and then getting the 9. Question everybody asks, do I need to show my work? If you want to get them right, I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. You know, right now there's a little on me sad about my sister-in-law. But my life is just flat out good. Your life is going to be better if you're writing down what you're doing. Show what you're doing. 2 or 3 or 5, or 5 or 4 or 9. Arithmetic is only done two numbers. It takes two steps, even if you do it in your head. Multiply 2 times 3 times 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. You do two things, the two numbers, and you write it down. Do you agree that this line, 6 times 4, is simpler than the line that's above it? The idea is to simplify. Not always to find the answer, but to take what's written down and below it, write something that is simpler. And then look at it and write something simpler still. Eventually, you've written it simplest. So the question, will I teach you English? The difference between simpler and simplest. Make it easier if you can, but easier still. Eventually, it has to be simplest. But you do it one step at a time. I made it simple. Craig, you showed me all the stuff you've written down with your work today. If I have time at the end of class, I will look at yours and everybody else's. I want to see what you wrote. You trust me. Write this up. Write it down. You will get more understanding if you write it down. How you add is different than how you multiply. Arithmetic's done two numbers at a time. You're writing down what you're doing. The distributive property is weird. Again, I know you've all had algebra. There's not a school system in America that would allow you to graduate. You can't get a GED without passing algebra. You've all had algebra. You've passed it. You've heard the word distributive property. This is the distributive property. The distributive property uses both multiplication and division, and addition, multiply and add in a single problem. If all I do is use my eyes, I'm not 100% sure what to do, but I'm going to work on names. I don't think we've talked today. And it tells me it's, whoa, okay? Read, starting with that 2. 2 What is the parentheses? What word do I use? Distributive. Not distributive. It's either add, subtract, multiply, or divide. What is the parentheses? Multiply. What word do you say? 2 times. Say it out loud for me again.
2 times 3x plus 5.
2 times 3x plus 5. Does it say this? There's got to be a trash can around here somewhere. I think it's back in that corner. We'll get close. Okay. No sense keeping them around if they don't write. Does it say that? Or does it say that? They're different. This one says 2 times 3x. Get an answer, then add 5. This one says 2 times the 3x and 2 times the 5, the distributive property. Here's some words John Siemens made up. The rest of the world doesn't use this. This 2 is talking to both the 3x and the 5. 2 is because of the parentheses, 2 is talking to both of them. It's how much is 2 times 3x? What do you think? Get it, girl? Well, what do you think 2 times 3x is? 6x. Say it again? 6x. What do you think 2 times 5 is? 10. That's the distributive property. It has both multiplication and addition in it. It's harder than just adding. It's harder than just multiplying. It's got both. The 2 is talking to the group. I'm not talking to just you. Right? I was talking to Wilbur a minute ago. I was still talking to you.
So did the X by itself and then take it to the other side?
Well, there is no other side. There's no equal sign.
So that would be the answer to the question.
It is a simpler version of what was there. I'm going to talk about the word simplify and make it easier. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to talk about the word solve. Find the answer. They're different from each other. I'm going to show you something that we might get a problem or two today. It will not be on a test. It won't be on the midterm, won't be on the final. But you will remember this from your algebra class. This. Can somebody read to me what this says? Can somebody read it out loud? Give it a shot.
Wait, would it be 2x times 3x, and then, or would it be 2x?
Read it. I don't want to know what it means. I want you to read it. There's a difference between what does it mean and read it.
Okay, I'll try. 2x plus 5, 3x plus 4.
You missed a word. What word did he miss?
Times.
He missed the word times. Okay? The times comes from the parentheses. 2x plus 5 times 3x plus 4. Okay? Parentheses tells you got a group. But parentheses also means multiply times. Parentheses, English is different than algebra. That's algebra. But you read it in English. Now, how do you do it? Again, guaranteed, dear sweet Miss What's-Her-Name, I don't know who it was that was teaching you algebra when you were 14 years old. If you go back and you remember. whoever that was, taught you FOIL.
Oh, yeah,
FOIL,
that's-
you remember FOIL. You might not remember any algebra, but you remember somebody taught you FOIL. 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 F stands for first, O stands for outside, I stands for inside, L stands for last. 2x plus 5 times 3x plus 4. FOIL. F stands for first. 2x. You agree 2x is first?
Yes.
Do you agree 3x is first?
Yes.
2x times 3x times 2x times 3x. How do we multiply? No, well, not here. Okay. What is 2x times 3x? 6x squared. That's how we multiply. First. What's O stand for? Outside. Do you agree that those two are the ones on the outside? What's 2x times 4? Times. Do you agree? What's I stand for? Inside. Do you agree that those two are the two that are on the inside? 5 times 3x. What's L stand for? Do you agree that those two are last? Last in its parentheses, last in its parentheses. What's 5 times 4? That's not the answer. What it is simpler than what's above it. Math takes more than one step. I've already done 4 steps. I did first, I did outside, I did inside, and I did last. My eyes should not look at this line anymore. Discipline on your part. Why do you write stuff down? Not to make me happy. What I've said, and I've said it at least 3 or 4 times already. Do I need to write it down? If you want to, get it right. So you've written this down to use it. If you wrote it down, use it. This is now my problem. Seamus, read it out loud for me.
6x squared plus 8x plus 15x plus 20.
Okay. There's 4 of them. 2 of them can be added. Do you know which 2, Seamus?
Yeah, 8x and 15x.
There's language. There's English around it. There's English around it. Okay? I'm coming over here to say, Jessica, you asked me, I'll teach English. And the answer is, as it applies to math, yes. In English, read it out loud and do what you said. 6x squared plus 8x plus 15x plus 20. The 8x and the 15x are alike. Mathematically, they're called like, L-I-K-E, not alike, but just like. Like terms. They can be added. 6x squared, I can't add it, but I can sure write it down. How much is 8x and 15x? How do we add? Seamus?
23x.
I can scroll back up there and remind you how we add. The 20 is not like 6x squared. It's not like 23x, but I sure do have to write it down. What I've done is I've taken the problem and I've made it simpler. It's not an answer. It's like making change. Who was it I was going to make change for the $20 bill or the $10 bill on Tuesday? Okay? I just made change for a $20 bill. It's the same number, only it's 2 10s instead of a 20. We've just made change. It doesn't look like a 20 anymore, but it's still $20. It's the same number. This whole great big thing is a number. This is a number. The numbers are the same, but this one is simple. This is 10 ones instead of a 20, or this is a 20 instead of 10 ones. I've made it simpler. How you add is different than how you multiply. You can only add like terms. They have to have the same letters. Exactly the same letters. Okay? We simplify. And we go down the page. It's going to be easier than you think. So the problem's done there for you. Simplify and solve. Simplify and solve. Both start with the letter S. That's a shame. Because students too often don't read a whole word. They think it just S. They think they should mean the same thing. They're different. Simplify is different than solve. They're very different. The word simplify means do the arithmetic. But you don't know what the arithmetic is if you haven't read it out loud. Your eyes won't know. Your ears will. Your eyes will not tell you what to do. Your ears will tell you what to do. Read it out loud. 2x plus 3x, 5x. If all I do is stare at that, I might or might not get it right. But if I read it, 3x plus 2x, I'm going to get it right. And so will you. Read it out loud. That's simplify. What does simplify mean? Read 3 words. Read the words after it. Simplify means, read them out loud. Do the arithmetic. Do the arithmetic. Dylan, what does simplify mean? Specifically, the arithmetic that's written. Why do you write things down?
Get it right.
To get it right. And to do what you've written. You write it down to do what's written. They're directions that you wrote for yourself. You don't write it down and make me happy. You write it down to get it correct. It's almost magic. If you write it down, you'll get it correct. And if you look at it, say, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. Oh my God, I don't know the answer. I'll try this answer. Don't try answers. Simple. Do what's written. And you'll know what to do if you read it out loud. Do what's written. Solve, a very different word, even though it starts with the same letter. Solve, do something, I didn't tell you what, do something to both sides of, I think there's an and there, but in order to get it, and an equation, okay, but I want it big enough so you can see it, the end disappeared. I'd rather, I know you've got it on paper. It helps for me if I have it on the screen. There it is. That's a little bigger. You can still see the and. Do something to both sides of an equation. Guess what? What do you think an equation is? More than a problem. If it's an equation, what has to be in it? If it has an equal sign, then it is an. If it doesn't have an equal sign, it's not. Not what? It's not an equation. If it has an equal sign, it's an equation. If it doesn't have an equal sign, it's not an equation. What those directions say, do something to both sides of an equation. Both sides. I'm going to try not to be political in this class, but I'm going to use a political reference for a couple of minutes, just because it helps me explain this. The equal sign. The equal sign is like Mr. Trump's wall. Whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't care. Okay? I am not going to talk politics. The equal sign is like Mr. Trump's wall. And the idea is you can't get over it. It's on this side, it's on that side, but you can't get over it. It divides, it separates. Maybe separating's good, maybe separating's bad. That's somebody else's class. That's not my class. But the equal sign separates two sides. We will be solving equations. But it's important you understand there's a big old wall, and it's that equal sign. So, do something to both sides. Read out loud. 3x plus 5 is 26. What did I do to both sides? Subtracted 5 from both sides. I've written it down, I've typed it one way. Let me show you this exact same thing, but I'll write it in a different style that will probably be more comfortable to you. Here's the equation. I'm going to read it out loud. 3x plus 5 equals 26. How do I know it's an equation?
Equal sign.
It's got an equal sign. It's an equation. My directions, here are the directions. Solve. How do you solve an equation? You do something to both sides. That's how you solve. That's the word you asked. You solve by doing something to both sides. What something am I going to do? I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Angel, why do I write things down? So you write them down to get them right, so that you can keep track. Once you've written them down, do what you wrote. Do what you wrote. You write them down to get them correct, and you do what you wrote. What does this say? 5 minus 5. How much is that?
0.
Pretty much nothing. So what does the left side become? The 5 minus the 5 cancels out. Adds up to 0. And add 0 doesn't do anything. The big old wall's still there. Can't tear it down. Okay? Can't get over it, can't get under it. I would say you can't get around it, but that'd be political. Okay? Don't want to do that. Why do you write things down?
Get it right.
To get it right. And you do what's written. What does this say? What does it say?
26 minus 5.
26 minus 5. You read what's written, you do it. Is this easier than that one? By doing something to both sides, and then looking at what you've written, you've got an easier problem. It's easier. It's not done. But it's easier. I want to finish it. If I want to finish it, there's 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. Which line am I going to look at? The third one. Somebody's going to say, but that's my problem. No, that's a $20 bill. This is 2 10s. I've made it easier. I've made it easier. Why in the hell would you do the hard one? If you've made it easier, only look at the easy one. Look at the one that's easier. Yes, Bart, read it for me. Read this one.
3x equals 21.
What kind of arithmetic is 3x? I want you to answer. Listen to my question. I didn't ask you what do you do. What I asked is, what kind of arithmetic is it? 3 next to x is, it is binary, 2 numbers. You're right there. What kind of arithmetic is it?